All right, so this is about graphing and writing inequalities. This is not graphing on a coordinate grid, this is just graphing on a number line. So the first thing it asks us to do is describe solutions of x plus 2 is less than 6. So one way you could do it is to choose a whole bunch of different values for x. So choose positive numbers and negative numbers, decimals and whole numbers, and you plug in all those different values. So when we plug in 0, we would get 2 is less than 6, that's a true statement. When we plug in 2, I get 4 is less than 6, that's true as well. When I plug in negative 4, that's a true statement. When I plug in 5, however, what I get at 5 is that 5 plus 2 is 7, and that's not less than 6 anymore. If I plug in 4, 6 is not less than 6, it's equal to 6, so that doesn't work either. But I plug in 3 and that's true again. 3.5, that's true as well. So if you plotted all those points on a number line, we can see we have true, 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 and then starting here, we turn false, and above that, we're also false as well. So when you look at the points where the true statements turn to false, then the numbers less than 4, anything that's less than 4 make the statement true. So the solutions, the way to describe the solutions is this little thing right here. The solutions are all real numbers less than 4. Okay, so taking a look at what we've got, let's test the values that we have here, and then we can describe the solutions to the inequalities. So 5 times 0 is less than or equal to 10. Well, is 0 less than or equal to 10? True. All right, 5 times 1 is less than or equal to 10. Is 5 less than or equal to 10? That's a true statement as well. 5 times negative 3 is negative 15 is less than or equal to 10. That's true. This would be negative 20 is less than or equal to 10. That's true. If I plug in 2 though, 5 times 2 is less than or equal to 10. That's 10 is less than or equal to 10. Well, is that true or false? Because I have this or equal to thing, that's going to be true. Where up here, 6 is less than 6 is a false statement. Here, 10 is less than or equal to 10 is a true statement. Well, let's plug in 3. 5 times 3 is 15 is less than or equal to 10. Well, that is a false statement. That's not true at all. If I plug in 1.5, so I'm going to go to my calculator here because I can't multiply 1.5 in my head. So I'm going to go 5 times 1.5, and that equals 7.5. So here, 7.5 is less than or equal to 10. That's true as well. Well, everything that it was at 2 or less than 2, all numbers less than or equal to the number 2 worked. All right, so let's take a look at the next one. If we plug in 0, 0 plus 1 is less than negative 2. Well, that's a false statement. Let's plug in 3. 3 plus 1 is less than negative 2. Well, that's 4 is less than negative 2. That's not true at all. What if I plug in negative 4? Negative 4 plus 1 is less than negative 2. That's negative 3 is less than negative 2. That's true. Negative 3 plus 1 is less than negative 2. Negative 2 is less than negative true. No, back to false. It doesn't have an or equal to sign. If I did negative 2 plus 1 is less than negative 2. That's negative 1 is less than negative 2. That's false again. All right, if I did 2.5 plus 1 is going to be negative 1.5. It's less than negative 2. That's false. What about negative 5? Negative 5 plus 1 is negative 4 is less than negative 2. That's a true statement again. So if we take a look at 4, that was true, and this was true. That's at 4 or less. So all numbers less than negative 4 worked. Are solutions. All right, so if we were to describe this inequality in words, something that would be easier than doing all those test points would be to undo what's happening and get x by itself. So if I were to undo divided by 3, I'd multiply both sides by 3, and I would get x is greater than 12. So describe the inequality in words, all numbers greater than positive 12. All right, so for the next one, I'm going to do the same thing I just did above. I'm going to add 4 to both sides. So I've got g is less than or equal to 1. So all numbers less than or equal to positive 1. That's all this she's looking for. All right, so if we were to continue with this, all right, so graphing, so to graph this, you draw a circle on the number. If it is a line underneath of it, so if it's or equal to, you're going to fill in that circle. So decide whether to fill in the circle. So if there's no line underneath of it, you leave it open and empty, or if there are lines underneath of it, you got the or equal to as an option, you would fill it in. Then you're going to draw an arrow. So it's as long as your variable's on your left-hand side, your arrow will follow in the direction of the signs. So these already look like arrows. So if you were to think of these as arrows instead of just less than or equal to, that's the direction the arrow would go. So if we take a look at this, it says write the variable and number indicated on the circle. Okay, look at the direction of the arrow if it points left. So here's where it's looking for. All right, so with this one here, okay, which one are we supposed to use? Well, we took a look here and said write the variable and the number. So I know it's x and negative 4, so it's using this number line right here. Then it says look at the direction of the arrow. So the arrow's going this way, so I know it's either going to be like this or like that. Okay, so that's where that is. I know it's going to be one of those two because that's the direction of the arrow. So all we have to look at now is the dot open or filled in? If it's open, it's without the line. If it's filled in, it is with the line. So if we were to graph this one right here, this says m is greater than or equal to 8 minus 3. Well, 8 minus 3, so I've got to go m is greater than or equal to, and combine my like terms over here, and that's 5. So I'm going to come up here to 5 and I'm going to draw a circle. I'm going to look up here and see that it is filled in, or it's the line underneath, so it means to fill in the circle, and I'm going to draw an arrow in the direction because my letter is on my left hand side. So P is less than 3.5, so I'm going to go here. I'm going to have to put in a place for 3.5, but that's okay. I'm going to draw an open circle around it, and my arrow moves in this direction because it is a less than, so I draw it to where I can actually see the less than sign right there. All right, write the inequalities shown by the graph. So I know I need to write an x and a negative 2. I know it's going to be either greater than or equal to, and I take a look at this dot and it's filled in, so I know it's going to be greater than or equal to. So there's my answer right there. All right, next I'm going to write my x and my negative 4. I take a look at this dot, it's open, and I take a look at this arrow, it's moving in this direction, so I know that that is the sign that I need to use.